What a year. What a year. Best by Mega washing 2022 city. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say now. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hlubi, and this is another episode of Hlubi's Corner. 2022. What a year. What a year. What a year. Best by Mega washing 2022 city. What a bully that one. 2022. 2022 was a lot. Okay. It was a lot. Personally, I haven't gone to a funeral in probably, I think the last time was probably when I was in grade 9, when my uncle passed away. My brother's younger brother passed away. That was years ago. It's probably, how many years ago? Probably 8 years ago or 7 years ago. Probably 8. Do the math. And 2022, I've never gone to so many funerals in my life. Okay. I've never gone to so many funerals in my life, and I think the thing that hit me with all of these funerals is not necessarily, yes, I think I have gotten to a point as I've been growing older, is understanding that death is basically a way of life, that we are brought into this world for a very short time and we are to transition into the other life or the other side, basically spending time with God, or like spending our eternity with our Father in heaven. And I think that brings a lot of solace or a lot of peace in terms of, and it's a good thing, it's a happy thing, it's a joyous thing. But obviously the pain of having somebody leave, especially when it's very unexpected, that's very painful, obviously. And I think for now, the two major highlights of last year, I went to a number of funerals of people that are related to me and people who are not necessarily related to me. And I think for the ones that I went to, for people who are related to me, basically 3 of them, it's actually 4, but I'll focus on the 3. My grandfather, my grandmom, and my cousin. And I think there are obviously there's different stages of grief, and I think when it came to and even now I'm not sure which stage I'm on, and out of the 3, the one that really knocked me, I think, is the passing away of my cousin, because she was so young. I think when a person passes away so young, it's very different from when a person passes away and they've actually lived a full life. My grandmother and grandfather lived a full life. They passed away in their 90s, and well, one in their 90s and the other in their 80s. I think I'll have to confirm. But they've lived a full life. They've watched their children grow up, and they've watched their children get married and have children, and some of their great grandchildren having children. So they've watched their children, their grandchildren, and their great grandchildren basically grow up. And obviously some of the great grandchildren are still quite young, but they've lived a full life. And so when a person has lived a full life, the way that you mourn a person is very different. And for me, I'd gone, I think, probably 4 years without seeing my grandmother and grandfather. Reasons that I probably will not get into in this video. But I think the one thing that I'm really grateful for is that in them passing, I was actually able to spend quite some time, or like time seeing them. I think my grandfather being the biggest highlight. The last time that I actually saw him was when I went to one of my uncle's funeral. I think it was around March, February, somewhere there. And I remember so my grandfather was really old. He was 96, and the past couple of years he's basically just been umdu who sleeps quite a lot, and he wakes up and is very fragile. And I think that last time that we saw him after the funeral, we went to go greet, and he was sleeping when we got to a kayakul. He was sleeping, and my father insisted on having him woken up so that we can greet him. And it was a very I don't know how to describe seeing someone that you've grown up obviously seeing. Umkhulu has always been Umkhulu. He's always been old. Like, I grew up with him being old because he's Umkhulu. But seeing someone so fragile, but still being able to walk. My grandfather passed away and he was still able to walk. He might have walked slowly, but he still walked, and still insisted on not using induku, a walking stick. And just seeing him for that last time and shaking his hand. So traditionally, or in an African way, when you greet him, nowadays people hug and stuff, but tinas kule upaula, you know. And when I shook his hand, I couldn't feel the calluses that he had before, because my grandfather really was very handy with his hands. He worked a lot with his hands, and like he had a man's hand, you know what I mean? And his hand was so fragile. I remember explaining to Tsebo, because she was there as well, what she did, like asking her if she felt how soft Nkulu's hand was. It felt like a baby's bum, basically. It was so soft and smooth. And I think out of the people who were lined up to greet him on the day, it was myself, my sister, my half sister, as well as a few other cousins as well. So we had to almost like reintroduce ourselves to him. My spawner, there's so many great grandchildren and grandchildren. There's a lot of us, okay, like a lot. And him hearing my name and seeing him light up, uti unam unes here, and shaking his hand, I cried. I think I was the only one out of the cousins or the people who were lined up to greet him to cry, because when I shook his hand, it almost felt like I knew that it was the last time that I was going to be shaking his hand. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but I knew. And a few months later, he passed away. And I think with my grandfather passing away, I think besides my own grief, whatever, or like guilt and those type of emotions, the biggest thing that was painful with watching everything unravel is just seeing my father grieve. My father absolutely loves, I won't say loved, because to him those are still his parents, but just seeing my father grieve his parents, first his dad, and then 6 months later in December, my grandmother passed away. But watching my father grieve is a very, I don't know, man, like as an empath as well, just taking on another human being's emotions, hearing words such as like, now he's an orphan, wada wada, because he literally is. He grew up his entire life. He's never gone a time where he's never had either of his parents. When my dad comes back home, because my dad works in Joburg, he always goes home, always, without fail. If he's on leave, whether it's for 6 days or whatever it is, a few of those days are going to be spent of him going home. Throughout our entire lives, we've grown up Sazilon. My dad always goes home to Ekayakulu to see his parents, and he loved his dad. The relationship he and his dad has, and so yeah, man, I think, yeah. And then just also for me, the passing of my cousin. So a lot of like December was a very crazy time in our family. Literally moving from November, celebrating my mom, being in like very high spirits, and then literally bam bam, first week of December we hear the news of our cousin passing away. Lots of questions around her death and all of that, a lot of anger, a lot of questions, questioning everything, and then literally as the preparations for a funeral are being made, my grandmother passes away. And she passing away at my cousin's home also is just, it was a lot. So December as a whole, literally the week before Christmas and on that Christmas weekend, we were basically in funeral mode, burying people. and it's probably one of the years that we'll probably never forget as a family, extended family as well. Us being together or coming together now because of funerals is also another thing that's very sad, but it's actually also quite encouraging as well, just seeing how everyone has grown or how everyone is growing, and almost the legacy that my grandparents have left in terms of all the children and great grandchildren, all of that that basically came out of their loins, was good to see. But yeah, man, grief is crazy. Losing people is very difficult, and I think just the difference between losing a person who's older and a person who's young is so different. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video just to remember them, and the other people that I went to help bury in the past year, who are not necessarily relatives as well, but yeah, last year was a lot on a lot of people. And yeah, I hope that you're well, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I want to be consistent on my channel, I do, but I don't know, sometimes I feel overwhelmed with the reality of my life, and sometimes it's hard to just switch on the camera and be on, because I had so many plans, so many video ideas at the beginning of last year, and it just went, I didn't find the motivation or the inspiration to make videos. But I'm hoping that slowly I'll get back into the knack of, or into the groove of making videos, and I hope that you guys are really well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!